Hey, good morning, my dear friends, and welcome to absolutely gorgeous and beautiful Surfside, California. It's so nice to be with you all. It is sunny, it's warm, it's summer-like. At the same time, there's a little bit of a breeze coming off the ocean, maybe 8 knots, something like that. It's gorgeous. And man, I'll tell you, the birds behind me are showing a very active surf zone. I don't know if they're behind me or not. I can see them up here near the surfers toward the jetty, and there's a lot of pelicans and white turnbirds hitting the water, an indication that there's bait and fish in here on the surf zone. So we're going to be talking about that in addition to some outstanding stuff. Ensenada is red hot right now. Blackfin sport fishing all over the Yellowtail, along with many other guys down in Ensenada. We'll cover that long range. The Royal Polaris is headed south down toward Alejos Rocks, where there's been some outstanding fishing. We'll take you to the big bluefin tuna zone and cover that. There was a boat on fire at Catalina Island yesterday. Thank God everybody is safe, but it was harrowing for quite some time. We're going to talk about the Channel Islands and the white sea bass, a big 30-pound yellowtail on board the Island Spirit, and so much more. You know what time it is. It is time for the morning briefing. Good Monday morning, my friends. And that coffee is so good this morning. It's so great to be with you all. I really can't thank you enough for everything you do for Friedman Adventures, whether it's hitting the like button or sharing the videos, subscribing to the Friedman Adventures channel, or ticking the little bell so you're notified when there's new content. Thank you all so very much. You can also follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. 2 live shows coming up, maybe more. We may do some remote live stuff here today also, but today, 3 o'clock from 22nd Street Landing in San Pedro, California, the Danny Cadota Show. Danny will be with us, and he'll be talking some of the great stuff that is going on right now. And then at 6 p.m., we'll be over in Carson, California at Island Fishing Tackle for Tackle Shop Confessions. That promises to be another great show with Sam De La Torre. Really looking forward to that one. So much to cover with you. Let's jump into it. First of all, that fire at Catalina Island. Bob Elliott, who is a really great fisherman. In fact, he was a dear friend of Eddie Leland. He used to take Eddie on some really great trips. He was experiencing some outstanding fishing yesterday when he called his friend Steve on the Fandango to let him know, hey, man, you got to get over here. And no answer. And that was just not common. Steve would normally react to Bob right away. No answer, and apparently they had a fire on board the Fandango yesterday. Things got out of control within about 3 minutes. And this guy, Steve, on the Fandango is one of the most safety-conscious persons you'd ever want to meet, according to Bob Elliott. Well, the fire got out of control. The flames and the heat became so intense that they had to go in the water. Thank God everybody was safe. Looks like the Fandango is a complete loss, but everybody is safe, and that is the most important thing for sure. All right, let's take you south of the border. Let's go to Ensenada. I talked to Victor from Blackfin Sport Fishing yesterday, and he said, Phil, this local yellowtail bite is for real. It's really, really good right now, said Victor. They're rolling up on bird schools of yellowtail, throwing a surface iron, and hanging some really nice fish, as you could see. Great fishing on the yellowtail for the local guys right now. And there's also barracuda flurries, there's big bonita, there's calico and sand bass. Blackfin sport fishing out there on Punta Banda. I can't recommend them enough. They do such a great job. And the fishing right now in Ensenada is red hot. You get to have that Baja hospitality when you drive 70 miles south of the border to Ensenada, and you experience even more of it at Blackfin Sport Fishing with this good yellowtail fishing. Don't throw the iron with anything less than 40 pound. Highly recommend you do that. And keep in mind that you can also catch sand and calico bass. So you want to bring some lighter stuff in addition to that. Some 20, 25 pound fluoro will work really well for you. Great fishing there. When you get back in from a Blackfin sport fishing trip, many operators do this, but you get back in and then they'll clean the fish right there in front of you. But while they're doing that, they're normally carving up a sashimi plate for you. You can have a beer, a cup of coffee, and sit there and bond with the guys that you just fished with all day long as they process your catch. I don't know how you can beat it. It is absolutely fantastic down there in Ensenada right now. The Royal Polaris hitting kelps on their way down to Alejos Rock. So they were fishing the local kelp patties south of San Diego on their way down, probably to Alejos Rocks. We'll talk about what's going on down there in that neck of the woods. They never found that right kelp patty, that one that was loaded, that really wanted to bite, but they still had some good fishing on the kelps for the yellowtail. Now headed south toward Alejos Rocks and other zones down that way where the bite has been outstanding. There's been wahoo, yellowfin, tuna, and great yellowtail action down there at the rock. Some of that rock yellowtail fishing goes on in the nighttime hours on the dropper loop, and then other bites manifest themselves in the daytime. Really great fishing for long range guys. The wahoo, the yellowfin, the yellowtail, and then many times on the way back, they've completed their journey, but they're headed back to San Diego. They'll go into the Baja Coast maybe 150 or 200 miles or even a little closer, and they have had wide open calico bass fishing, some pretty good white sea bass fishing, at times also more yellowtail, sheephead, that kind of a bite that has been going on their way home. So really great stuff, no question about that. Nice going on the Royal Polaris. All right, let's jump into our big bluefin tuna bite, which is mostly up there around San Clemente Island, back behind Catalina, towards San Nicolas Island, kind of in that triangle area that boats have been fishing for many, many years. This bite at times is absolutely awesome. At other times, it's pretty darn tough. And so the weather is cooperating. It's come down quite a bit. A while ago, a few days ago, it was really brutal wind and high seas, but that has come down. It's still a little breezy out there, but fishable. Now, the Polaris Supreme is just unloading this morning. Paul Fanning has been on this great trip, and he has a YouTube channel called California Saltwater Fishing. I highly recommend you go over there and follow Paul. Subscribe to his channel. He does a great job, and he's going to be putting out even more extensive videos on this recent Polaris Supreme trip. But you can see the deck of the Supreme 100 plus on the bluefin tuna. Really great scores. We told you they were going into the Coronado Islands yesterday. We also told you it was a freaking parking lot there. I mean, anything that can float and get to the islands right now because of this outstanding yellowtail bite were there. So it was pretty darn tough fishing. They had a dozen yellowtail at the islands yesterday. I'll get into the islands here in more. I'll delve into it even more for you in just a moment. They did have a nice 40-pound flatfish, so big halibut on the Supreme, but nice fishing for sure on their 3-day trip with over 100 fish. The Islander, a 3.5-day trip, 13 bluefin tuna to 200 pounds, 109 yellowtail to go with that. The Pacific Queen on a 3.5-day trip with 113 bluefin tuna to 200 pounds. So the scores are mixed on the bluefin tuna up there in that neck of the woods. Now there's daytime fish, which are mostly, I want to say 18 to 30 pound fish, unless you're fishing the kite and you get some of those big fish to 200 pounds. But there's a lot of breezing fish, a lot of excitement. You'll roll up on a lot of bird schools of feeding, frothing bluefin tuna, and sometimes they bite and sometimes they don't. And a lot of that depends on you and how you attack the situation. When they're very finicky, of course you got to choose a good hot bait, but you've got to drop that fluorocarbon down. Drop it down to 25 pounds. Talk to a crew member. Make sure you're on the same page with them. They know better than anybody that just been out there the day before. They've seen what's going on. So bring some light stuff, 25, and then 30 and 40 pound to fish that daytime. At night, you want 100-pound Spectra, 200-pound bite leader. And jigs, you know, when the weather was really up, 500-gram jigs were working. Right now, like 350 should be good, but I'd bring both, no question about it. And those Daiwa SK lures have been good. The HD lures from West Coast Jiggers have been good. Definitely want to be prepared with all of that kind of tackle, with the lighter stuff and the heavier stuff, depending on how many days you're going to spend out there. Our good friend, dear friend, Jolene Thompson, just completed an all-girls trip on board the Producer. They ended up with 26 bluefin tuna. They had one that went 220 pounds. I hope to hook up with Jolene in a live YouTube video later today to pick her brain about what was most effective on this all-girls trip. It should be fascinating just from that standpoint, but we'll learn from Jolene, who is a superior angler, great angler, what worked best on this trip. She raved about the crew on board the Producer. On board the Red Rooster 3, we got to say hi to Sierra. She caught her first bluefin tuna, her first tuna ever. So that is some really good stuff. So kind of mixed. And remember, this is up here around San Nicolas Island. So boats out of Long Beach, like the El Dorado, can get to it. Boats out of San Pedro, like 22nd Street. We have the Amigo, the Pride, several other guys. They can get to it. So it's within range of boats from San Diego all the way up to Redondo and even the Channel Islands. They've focused most of their attention on their local white sea bass, but they can reach it if they want to easily, and that is great stuff. Kelp Patty Yellowtail fishing south of San Diego. If you're looking for some kelp patty action, remember, I just told you, the Royal Polaris was looking for that right kelp patty, and they never found it. They picked some yellows, but if you find the right one that really wants to bite, that's loaded up with forkies, you can get well in a hurry. Catch limits of these fish, 8 to 20 pound fish, mostly on bait, like 25 pound fluorocarbon when they're finicky, 40 pound when they want to bite everything. They will bite the iron at times also, but bait seems to be working best of all. The Liberty 96 Yellowtail and a Dorado fishing offshore. Nice hit, the San Diego with 86 Yellowtail. So some good stuff. And some of these guys are fishing the kelps to get away from that boat pressure at the Coronado Islands. Now that pressure at the island should lessen up today, and the island should produce even more and better and start to bite even better again. Just too many boats and not enough fish, let's put it that way. But there is a substantial amount of fish. They're 8 to 20 pounders also, and the bite at the islands, the Coronado Islands, has been as good as I've seen it in decades. Mission Bell has been putting the wood to them. I think they had a dozen fish on Sunday. Too many boats. So we're not even going to judge it on that basis. And as I tell you, when you're picking a trip, if you can go on the weekdays, you're much better off. And weekdays means Monday through Thursday, because Friday, it gets pretty trafficked up out there also. Lighter line at times works really good. Private boaters yesterday, I talked to 6 or 7. Some guys had phenomenal fishing. They got on the right bunch of fish, got there early, got it done. Other guys are just frustrated by too many boats and did not have a very good trip. Coronado Island, still excellent fishing, really, really good. It's suffered because of the boat pressure. Hopefully it's back on track here today. We'll keep watching that for you. San Clemente Island, you've got that nighttime dropper loop fishing that extends into the early morning hours, and it can be quite good. The Fury was out there. They had 6 bluefin tuna. John Garma was on that trip. John, you're supposed to have some content for me. What's going on? 6 bluefin tuna, 10 yellowtail. The El Dorado right now just called me here on Monday morning, and Will said, hey, Phil, we got a pretty good sample of big yellows here and a few halibut on board. We're working at it. We're trying to catch even more. You're fishing heavy line, like 50 pound, with a big hook, like a 5070 hook, with live squid in the morning. Then in the daytime, you're fishing either live squid or sardine, a little bit lighter tackle. You'll catch some smaller and bigger yellowtail during the daytime. And if you focus on calico bass, it's been quite good there at San Clemente Island. Catch sheephead, rockfish, whitefish. It is July, however, for a few more days. And during this time of the year, we try to focus mostly on the surface fish. The new San Mateo out of Dana War Sportfishing. You can get to Clemente in 3 hours. They do really, really well. As you can see by the video, they're putting another yellow on board. So they are running out of there, and they get there in a hurry. Our friends from the 540 Slingers Club. That is Jeff Yeomans and the gang. I think they were at San Clemente Island. Jeff didn't tell me exactly, but pretty tough conditions. You know, it's windy and wind against current, stuff like that makes it difficult. They ended up with 4 yellowtail over there and some calicos and some sheepshead. Joey Devine with a jackpot yellowtail. Nice going, Joey. And Jeff, thank you so much for checking in. The Tornado had 11 yellowtail, 12 bluefin tuna on their most recent trip. The Amigo, 38 yellowtail, 2 white sea bass. They're fishing those squid nests, and you are likely to encounter a variety of different predators on those squid nests, primarily yellowtail, but some white sea bass and other critters also. At Catalina Island, we continue to pick away at a few yellowtail every single day, picking away at the calico bass, some sheephead, whitefish, rockfish, that kind of a thing also going on there. The El Patron has had some really great trips there recently with yellows and also calico bass. And of course, they're running every single day, headed to Catalina Island the El Patron limited load, great crew, fun stuff. You're going to love the El Patron. You can get on board by going to www.longbeachsportfishing.org. Highly recommend you get on there out of 22nd Street. The pursuit yesterday with all that variety and a couple of yellowtail. Up in the Channel Islands, we continue to wait for another white sea bass. Big bite. You know, it's looming. They've had some weather issues here recently, but the weather's starting to come down. Doug Tikt, Friedman Adventures family member, is going to be on the Endeavor from August the 1st through the 3rd, out with Eddie Berrigan. I think Bella might be going on that trip, Eddie's daughter. That should be a good one. I like the way the weather's shaping up for that trip. It's going to be breezy, but it's definitely fishable. And Tucker McComb should be able to come up with a great hit. The Grand Light up there yesterday, 12 halibut, 5 white sea bass. That's a darn good trip. A 30-pound yellowtail on board the Island Spirit and a mix of other fish with some barracuda out of Ventura Sport Fishing. Also, some calico bass, some good rock fishing going on up there. Island Spirit always doing a great job. 805-676-3474. Island Spirit has trips for you all day long. I'm going to try to hook up with their captain here, Daniel Hadaway, in just a little bit also today for you. So definitely 2 live shows and hopefully 4 live shows for you today. We'll pick Daniel's brain about, are there more yellows up there, and how things are shaping up in the Channel Islands. Really great stuff. We'll take a look now. As I tell you, if you have tax problems, call our dear friend Tim Marquez. He's waiting for you. He'll take care of everything. He's been doing taxes for 35 years and heating and or air conditioning needs. You want to talk to our friend John Lopez at Efficient Heating and Air Conditioning. Calico bass fishing down there in San Diego, and sand bass fishing, not bad. They had really good sand bass fishing on the daily double, picking at the bass, occasional yellowtail, white sea bass. We get you up to the Dana Wharf area, and they've been catching and releasing a lot of calico bass. That's been quite good here recently. Also up here in the LA Orange County area, oh, there's a bunch of birds sitting behind me that weren't sitting there. Have they been hitting the water? Oh, you guys are getting a better show than I'm getting. Looking back, I told you it was quite active here in the surf. Some good calico and sand bass fishing in the LA Orange County area at times, but a lot of sculpin and whitefish and rockfish as we start to bump up against August, which just adds to the enigma of 2024. Dorado out there at Catalina Island 48 hours ago on a kelp, 2 fish, a yellowfin tuna off Dana, and sculpin and whitefish and rockfish. The reason I'm laughing is because some of those are very warm water, tropical, semi-tropical type species, and then the cooler water fishing. Here we are bumping into August. Pretty darn crazy. Incidentally, great albacore fishing 72 miles off of Fort Bragg up north of us. Nothing in this neck of the woods. I thought we were going to have them this year. Looks like I've got egg on my face again. Some pretty good calico and sand bass fishing up there, Redondo, Marina del Rey on the evening twilight trips, but the daytime trips have been mostly rockfish. We kind of covered what's going on in the Channel Islands already, so some good stuff. Don't forget 10% off ProMarAhi.com when you put in FA at checkout. Get their new fluorocarbon, the GT4, more line for a less expensive price, and another 10% off when you put FA in at checkout. All right, surf fishing. You want to check in with our friends down there, Big Fish Bait and Tackle in the beautiful city of Seal Beach, California, because not only do they have all the bait you'll need, not only do they have all the tackle you'll need from trout fishing right on up to big bluefin tuna, but they've got a monthly giveaway of a beautiful custom surf fishing rod. You're going to want to take advantage of that, and it's free. All you got to do is go in there, buy the ruler, and then they'll give you all the details. Some pretty good surf fishing going on. More and more halibut in the surf. This is good here today. The signs, at least. You see all those birds picking. There's bait there, and if there's bait, there's going to be predators. I bet there's good yellowfin croaker fishing here, tossing out a 3/4-ounce crocodile or a Castmaster, something shiny like that, and you should do quite well on the yellowfin croaker up there in the Santa Monica Bay and Huntington Beach and down south of us. Good corvina fishing going on right now on the bait. Those corvina are caught in, you know, like 1, 2 feet of water, 3 feet of water. See where that wave is breaking? That's probably too far. You're going to want to fish right in there in that white water, because what that is doing there is digging up and dredging up sand crabs and mussels and other stuff that those corvina now they're in there feeding on that right now. Light line, 6 pound, and you can have an absolute ball with that stuff. Hey, a couple of other things going on. Calico Chris, who's a great Friedman Adventures family member, is fishing the Kenai River in Alaska and doing really good on the salmon. Nice going, Chris. Thanks for checking in. And Steve Welsh, the crazy galley chef, cook, whatever he is, on board the Freedom out of 22nd Street Landing. He says Crowley Lake is on fire right now. Good rainbow trout fishing. And Steve, he loves fishing more than anything. He gets around and has a great time all the time. Really great stuff. I got to tell you, I love what's happening with this situation with the weather. The winds are coming down. That's looking much better. Hopefully that big bluefin tuna gets on the bite for more and more boats. We had some great scores and some slow scores. Coronado Island should get back on the bite, and 2 live shows for sure later tonight. 3 p.m. we'll be at 22nd Street Landing with Danny Cadota. 6 p.m. Tackle Shop Confessions. You can ask questions, participate in the show, and have a great time with all of us. Can't thank you enough. You're the very best. I can't wait to bring you those live shows tonight. And if I don't see you on the live shows, I hope to see you somewhere else really, really soon. Have a great Monday, my friends. Take care.